If you spend an hour navigating Bengaluru today, you will experience severe friction. The city's infrastructure strains under the weight of hypergrowth, forcing millions of daily commutes through incredibly narrow, glowing bottlenecks. But look at this photograph from just a few decades ago. This exact ground was defined by a quiet, horizontal patchwork of agricultural plots. Now, fast forward to the present. Looking at the chaotic mix of buses, cars, and rickshaws packed onto this multi-lane flyover, the severe urban strain is palpable. While population charts and vehicle counts show the volume of the problem, they don't explain its shape. That shape is dictated by the geometry of the dirt sitting directly beneath the pavement. Tracking a single parcel of farmland as it is swallowed, sliced, and sold reveals the specific logic of the city's expansion, the physical math that dictates how every street and alleyway actually functions today. For generations, traditional land use was static. Agriculture requires vast, contiguous space to yield crops, and farm boundaries rarely shifted over the span of a lifetime. Then came the tech boom and globalization. Notice the clustering of global corporate signboards, Hewlett-Packard, 3M, Tata, dominating this dusty roadside. This sudden influx of foreign capital and high-paying jobs immediately altered how local soil was valued. Developers faced an astronomical financial incentive. A flat, horizontal acre of cabbage yields a modest seasonal income. But if you acquire that exact same acre and stack concrete vertically for commercial tech parks or luxury apartments, the profit margin multiplies exponentially. The dirt's inherent value shifted completely. Here, you can see the low-density foreground directly contrasted by the massive multi-tower high-rises under construction in the distance. The soil was no longer prized for its agricultural yield, but for its sheer capacity to hold high-density square footage. Let's look at the logic of dense real estate in action through this animated diagram. Here, we have a clean, single geometric boundary representing an undivided farm parcel recently acquired by a developer. To maximize revenue, the developer must yield the highest number of sellable units, so the shape mathematically fractures into dozens of smaller, highly optimized grid squares. But notice what happens to the space in between. The internal grids expand outward to their absolute limits to maximize private area. That leaves only aggressively narrow, jagged pathways for local roads, because wide avenues or public transit lanes generate zero immediate revenue for the developer. This happens through a process known as piecemeal acquisition. Developers buy up adjacent farms sequentially, one by one, slicing each according to its own isolated financial logic, without conforming to any centralized municipal master plan or grid. When financial optimization dictates how every micro-parcel is divided, the resulting citywide layout emerges as a collection of bottlenecks and disjointed dead ends. And as this diagram rapidly zooms out, you can see what happens when this frantic, unregulated subdivision across thousands of farms on the city's periphery simultaneously. The broken grids tessellate together, stitching disjointed parcel clusters across a massive map. That abstract expansion pattern swallowed the surrounding geography, resulting in the reality of Bengaluru's skyline today. Look at this dense cluster of skyscrapers that has forcefully emerged from the remaining wooded landscape. For residents, this disjointed expansion translates into direct daily consequences. Roads abruptly dead-end, utility lines strain to reach unmapped expansions, and fragmented neighborhoods exist without any central, cohesive flow to connect them. The traffic and infrastructure failures residents face today are the physical artifacts of the real estate logic applied parcel by parcel decades ago. Once farmland is fragmented, sold to thousands of distinct owners, and paved over in concrete, it locks the city into a specific trajectory. You cannot easily undivide real estate once it is heavily settled. Retrofitting these high-density areas later to install cohesive public transit networks or massive green spaces requires buying back that heavily settled land. It becomes a logistical nightmare and financially prohibitive. This presents a critical question for emerging megacities across the globe. Will they study this pattern and proactively master plan their peripheries, or will they repeat the exact same piecemeal land division? The evolution from farmland to metropolis is a permanent act. The financial choices made today to slice and sell the dirt form the literal, unmovable boundaries of how future generations will live.